Hey guys, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark. I am here with Sam Stein today because usually I come on after Trump rallies and rant to you about the most insane stuff that was happening there. But I had to be a dad, and Sam Stein watched the rally, and he was like, "We can't let this go. We have to tell the YouTube people about what happened at this rally. It was so wild." So I'm learning live with you as Sam shows me the highlights from the Detroit Economic Club today. So Sam, take it away. What was it that was so astonishing to you? Biggest picture.
Well, Tim, let's take a moment and acknowledge what an incredible father you are.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
just let that. I
you
don't
got to
want
parent 30 minutes a week.
Yeah, you got your minutes in, and it's only Thursday.
Yeah,
Congratulations! I
thank
know
you.
you normally save those for later in the week. This one was a doozy. I know we always come on here, we're like, "Oh, that was the craziest rally ever." I'm not going to go that far, but I do think it's worth noting that like we're 28 days away, and like he went on an hour and a half ramble at the Detroit Economic Club. And there were times when I thought he might fall asleep on stage, and then there were times where I thought I might fall asleep watching him. And then he'd kind of go into random asides that woke me up a little bit. There are like 8 or 9 moments here. I'm not going to rank them, but I can go through them and you can interrupt me when you want to comment on them. Okay,
Okay.
how's that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so let's just start with the basic. He was in Detroit um, at the Economic Club, and he just took a big old shit on Detroit. We can listen to the clip here.
I don't think anything that we're talking about today is high on our list. The whole country is going to be
I'll watch
like,
it, actually.
you want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands. She just
Okay, well, for starters, Sam, the Bulwark will be in Detroit, so we can
Oh,
see
well,
your
yeah, yeah.
beautiful city firsthand next Saturday, October 19th. Number two, a key swing state. It seems to be a miss. I mean, the Lions are on the come up. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
revitalization in Detroit. Crime is down. Economy is thriving. Like, what's so wrong? What's so bad about Detroit? It seems like a bad substantive and political move there.
Tigers are in the playoffs. I'm not going to talk about the Pistons. They stink.
They do stink.
But other than that, it's, and you know, the city's kind of had to turn around. Crime's on the falling down. It's like not like the doldrums it once was. But to your point, it seems a little bit weird to knock the city that is in a swing state while you're in the city. He actually did it again later. He's like, I could be sunbathing anywhere else, but I'm here in Detroit. So yeah, okay, weird one. But that wasn't even like I'd put that in like top five, but it wasn't number one. There was we don't have these clips, but among other things, he ripped without naming him Pat Toomey, former senator from Pennsylvania, who he called the dumbest human being ever or corrupt because
Mm.
Toomey opposed his tariffs while Toomey was in the Senate. And then he kind of rejoiced at the fact that Toomey no longer is in the Senate. Look, I don't know how many fans there are for Pat Toomey out there, but Toomey is from Pennsylvania. He's got Republicans in Pennsylvania who probably do like him. Again, this is classic Trump just kind of shitting on a swing state
Two,
senator
Yeah, two thoughts on
unopportunistically.
that. Two thoughts on that. One,
Yeah,
and last night, a video I did last night about his rally the big takeaway was that he says get the hell out to Mitt Romney, which was very
right.
reminiscent of Kerry Lake in the
Oh yeah, the
midterms.
McCain thing.
Talking about getting the hell out to McCain voters. It does matter on the margins. I mean, Pat Toomey is going to be a senator from Pennsylvania that has there's people that have some affinity for him. And
Sure.
so I do think that's a mistake. But the other thing there is the attack is on tariffs, and I do want to spend a good amount of time on this clip that you had flagged
Yeah.
for me.
Well, should we play? Let's play that clip because he did float the idea. He's been talking a lot about 200% tariffs. He went 5 times above that at this rally. He suggested 1,000% tariffs. Let's play that clip.
sir, you really have to see them. I said, I don't want to see him. I will impose whatever tariffs are required, 100%, 200%, 1,000%.
Okay, so a couple of things there that jump out to you. One, obviously he likes the tariffs the most because it makes him feel the most like a dictator. He can just be like, I'll just do whatever I want. I'll do 1,000, whatever. You can hear it in his voice. He's just like, I am the decider on this. I'm a toddler. I have my toy. You will not take this from me. I will do whatever I want. So that's one. Number two, I had this long exchange with Dan Crenshaw yesterday, and about the tariffs. And like the traditional conservatives just have to dance and weave around this and try to make it seem like it's something that it isn't. And this is an insane anti-free market policy that he is promising to do just on his own without any interference from Congress. And you would think that there would be some political hay here. And you're at the economic club. This is your proposal, 1,000% tariffs. Like this is
But they all say, oh, it's just a negotiating ploy. He's not actually going to do it. Like Crenshaw said that too.
Yeah, why wouldn't he do it? I know, this is the thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The Crenshaw's like, well, but I mean, look at what his policies were in 2018. It's like, that was over half a decade ago. Do you think do you think that lands? I mean, you saw my exchange with Crenshaw.
Well, I just don't know if the idea is, well, you shouldn't trust what he says, then what should you trust? Like, I don't really understand. Like, what Trump. Are we voting on? If everything is just a ploy, and what can we actually trust?
Just trust in Trump, Sam. Just trust in Trump.
All right, let's keep going because the tariffs thing was interesting. Probably the most substantive thing out of this, but there's a lot of weird stuff elsewhere. He just went on these weird asides, more so than usual. Like at one moment, he was reminiscing about watching Elon Musk land his rockets like perfectly down on the circles from which they ascended to the moon, and then he was like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those circles that Biden used to have at his rallies in 2020. He's referencing like social distancing. I don't know how he jumped from one to the other.
It's called the weave, Sam. It's called the weave. I don't know. Have you not paid attention to his interviews? It's called the weave.
Yes,
he thinks he says something, and he says Dwight Eisenhower, and then that makes him think general, and then that makes him think how he's the first businessman to be president.
I saw
and that makes him think how his generals
yesterday.
were bad, and how you can't trust the generals, and that takes us back to Afghanistan. It's called the weave.
Yeah, well, he weaved a lot. The thing that I was like, the thing I had to kind of back up and listen to a couple times was he weaved his way somehow into the price of food, and then he had this aside about the word grocery that it was either like Robert Frost or just completely incomprehensible. Let's play that one.
I have more complaints on grocery. The word grocery, it's sort of simple word, but it sort of means like everything you eat. The stomach is speaking. It always does. And I have more complaints about that bacon and things going up, double, triple, quadruple.
All right. So the stomach is speaking. It always does. In a way, it's kind of beautiful.
I honestly, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to figure out where we are at the weave here. Is this an inflation thing?
Yeah, price of goods.
But what about the word grocery? What was it about the word grocery that stuck in his head?
I don't know.
Like the grocery store?
I mean, I think the word grocery just came out of his mouth, and he's like, "Oh, it's like the stuff we eat."
I mean, he doesn't. Maybe is he unfamiliar with the word grocery? And
no, he's not unfamiliar with the word grocery.
I don't think he goes grocery shopping. Probably, I mean, have you ever seen a picture of Trump in the wild rolling his cart through the Publix? I've never seen that.
He did do a stop at a grocery store the other day, and it looked unnatural. But I just think he kind of stumbled on grocery, and then his mind went, "Oh, that's an interesting word," and it's like what's in your stomach.
The stomach is speaking.
Yeah, I don't know.
The stomach is speaking for him.
This
was the economic club speech. So
this is the economic club speech. Oh wait, I skipped one because we're on tariffs. But this one was hilarious. Again, this is the economic club speech. You're supposed to present this substantive economic vision, and he was on this tariff rant, and he starts talking about again, this is these words pop in, and he starts going on these mental escapades with them, and he's like, the problem with tariffs is that the word itself doesn't have a good PR agent.
So, tariffs are a very important thing. They need a PR agent to straighten out that word. If I was Mr. Tariff, I would say, please get me a PR agent. I have to straighten out. It's one of the most beautiful words in the whole world. It's going to make us wealthy again. The other word is reciprocity.
He said that. That's the problem with tariffs. The word doesn't have a good PR agent.
There's something that jumps out at me there, and just stick with me here.
Sure. Are you going to weave?
No, I might weave. Doesn't that speak poorly to? Isn't Trump the word tariffs PR agent? So isn't that kind of a self-criticism, an unintended self-criticism there?
Yeah,
might be something to think about if you're Jason Miller out there. Maybe it's
no one talks about tariffs more than Trump.
Yeah, maybe it's you that's failing.
Yeah,
what was the crowd vibe like? Were the people there feeling it, or?
I wish I was there because it's obvious that there were supporters there, and whoever was emceeing after the fact was
a supporter. But at like hour and 20 minutes in, it was very evident that like people were just sort of tired, and he just kept going. And you were like, why? I mean, this is all sort of just train of thought, and it just meanders, and there's not really any coherence to it. And they're laughing at some of the jokes. Like, he'd make some like really nasty snide remark about how dumb Kamala Harris is and sleepy Joe Biden, and he hates her and all. And they'd be like, and then he'd just go on. And they'd be like, okay, we'll live with this. We can deal with this. And that was that. And it had this vibe of like they were resigned to it, but they kind of enjoyed it.
Got it. What do you think the headline is in the Detroit Free Press tomorrow?
I think
traditionally campaigns go to these cities because you want to have a good story. What's the local news headline tonight?
I mean, honestly, it could be 1,000% tariffs, or it could be Trump slams Detroit. While in Detroit, which seems like a perfectly reasonable headline to have. He had a couple other ones that I'll just go quickly through because they were interesting. He said he probably deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
If I were named Obama, I would have had the Nobel Prize given in 10 seconds. He got the Nobel Prize. He didn't even know what the hell he got it for. Remember, he got elected. Well, so did I.
Because like Obama, he was elected and he did stuff on foreign policy. He threatened to shut down 60 Minutes.
The other big news is the fraud committed by 60 Minutes and CBS, together with the Democrat Party, working together with them, which will go down as the single biggest scandal in broadcast history, I predict. It's a big story. I don't know if you've seen it yet. And they change her answer. They take it out, throw it away, and put in a totally different answer in order to protect her, and they get caught. CBS should lose their license.
Over their edits to the Kamala Harris interview, I find that ridiculous. And kind of actually not ridiculous, but a little bit scary. I feel like this one's getting underappreciated, right? It's like, this dude's threatening to shut down an entire TV network. Like, shouldn't we pick up on that vibe a little bit, right? Like, that's weird. And then he went on this thing about Iran.
Iran was broke when I left office, and I don't want them to be broke. I want them to be a strong country. I just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple.
And I found this one interesting because he kept saying, I don't want Iran to be broke. I'd be happy with it having money. I just want it to not have a nuclear weapon. And if you step back and you think about it, like, more or less, that was the framework of the JCPOA, which Obama instituted in 2015, and that he pulled out of. So it's
wasn't his policy literally trying to make Iran broke, and that was the policy of his administration. It keeps bringing me back to the crunch. It's just like, it's tough. I do think it's tough for people that don't pay attention to stuff closely to like really appreciate that Trump is promising a totally different policy framework if you take his words seriously than he did in the first term. And so he's simultaneously running on, oh, how great were things back in 2019. 2020 doesn't count. Don't hold me accountable for 2020. But how great were things in 2019? But also, I've gotten rid of all of these horrible people that you can't trust anymore. And now we're going into pure uncut MAGA of tariffs and being nice to dictators and mass deporting migrants, even if they're here legally. Like that's kind of the agenda that he's put forward.
And I go back to what I said to you earlier. It's like, if half of the conceit is, oh, he's just bluffing, like he's not going to do it. He just wants to like negotiate. Like, what do you believe? Like, are these tariffs real? Are his threats of deportation real? Are, the promises to like cozy up to dictators real? I happen to think they're real, but Dan Crenshaw's of the world will say, he's just trying to like sweeten the deal for the dictators, but he's really going to be tough. Or he's not really going to do those tariffs. He's just trying to get them into a negotiation posture. Okay. Or like even the deportation stuff, he's really just trying to like, slow the flow of migrants to the border. It probably won't happen in the way you're articulating it. It's like, well, what are we supposed to believe at that point? What are we voting on? The man, I guess, the person.
Yeah. And just his character and the trust that everything will be as good as it was in your memory of 2019. Sam Stein, thank you for watching. 2019, not 2020.
Not
2019. Okay, yeah. 2019. Let's
be very clear
Things
about that.
Are really great.
Yeah.
Are you better off than you were 5 years ago? Thank you, Sam Stein, for watching it. So I didn't have to. We'll see you back here soon. Everybody, subscribe to the feed. Tell your friends. Give us a thumbs up. We'll see you later. Peace.